Hey guys, welcome back. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys one of my experiences that I had recently. I had my tonsils removed as an adult, and we're going to be learning Spanish vocabulary that goes along with this process. So we're going to learn, first of all, what is a tonsillectomy in Spanish, but we're also going to learn about surgery, about going to the hospital, about the issues that I had with the tonsils and the reason that I had them removed. We're going to learn all of the Spanish vocabulary to describe those things. All right, let's get started with the lesson. So the first thing that I want to start with is, what is a tonsillectomy called? And we call this in Spanish la amigdalectomía. La amigdalectomía is a tonsillectomy in Spanish. So you might infer from la amigdalectomía that the tonsils in Spanish are la amígdala. La amígdala, that is the tonsil. Some people also have their adenoids removed when they had this procedure. I did not, but if you want to refer to those adenoids, they are los adenoides. Los adenoides, and those are the adenoids. All right. So the reason that I had a tonsillectomy, and it's because it is not all that common of a procedure anymore, especially in adults, and it's really not recommended because of the recovery process, which I'll get into a little bit more later on in this video. But the reason that I had it was because I had a consistent sore throat for on and off for years, and it got much worse the last 6 months or so before I had the procedure. I had tonsillitis, which basically my tonsils were infected and I just kept getting sick because of that tonsillitis. In Spanish, we call tonsillitis la amigdalitis. La amigdalitis. And to refer to the sore throat, you can say el dolor de garganta is a sore throat. So I had a sore throat about once a month for every month, 6 months prior to my surgery. And that was part of the reason that I had to have those removed, is I just kept getting sick. So the reason I had my tonsillectomy was because of my sore throat, el dolor de garganta, and because I had tonsil stones as well. So the little white dots that can appear in your tonsils is basically like debris that gets caught in there. It's really gross, actually, but I have no tonsils now, so no tonsils, no tonsil stones, it's all gone. And we call those in Spanish, the tonsil stones, las piedras de la amígdala, las piedras de la amígdala, and that is the tonsil stone. So I had the tonsillectomy to get rid of those. They are painful, and then they're also just unpleasant to have, so I wanted those removed. So to have this procedure, I had to go to the doctor, I had to go to a general physician, and then I had to go to a specialist for the ear, nose, and throat. And in Spanish, we call that el o la especialista en oído, nariz, y garganta. So specialist in ear, nose, or throat, depending on whether it's a man or a woman. El o la especialista en oído, nariz, y garganta. So I went to the specialist and got the referral for my surgery, cirugía. And so surgery in Spanish, cirugía. And then it was time to have my tonsils removed. And if they were removing in Spanish, like they're being removed, we would say se extirpan. Se extirpan is they are being removed. So after I went through all this, I went in, I got my referral, I set up my surgery, and then I went in for my surgery, which I planned to be during the summer because I am a teacher and I have summers off. So I scheduled this during the summer, and I went in and I met with my surgeon, who is el cirujano, in my case, who was mi cirujana, la cirujana, because I had a female surgeon. And they went over the process of what they were going to do in my surgery. And then they started preparing me for surgery with an IV for just the basic of fluids and vitamins And so to do this, they use a needle. La aguja is needle. I do not do very well with needles or with blood drawing or with anything medical or any of this. So they put the needle, la aguja in and put in the vitamins and the fluids. And I started to get lightheaded immediately because I don't handle needles very well. So my blood pressure, which is already usually pretty low, went even lower. My blood pressure, which by the way in Spanish is la presión arterial, and I have low blood pressure, so la presión arterial baja. And as soon as they put that in, serving the fluids in, my blood pressure dropped to like 90/40. So they had to lean me back in the chair so that the blood could flow to my head. And then it was okay after that. It was fine to go into surgery, but I just want to share that with you guys. So I went in for surgery after that. They gave me the anesthetic, which is anesthesia. Anesthesia is the anesthetic. So the anesthesiologist came and he gave me la anesthesia, and then they rolled me in for surgery, and I woke up with stitches and burns where my tonsils used to be. So the stitches, for a stitch, we say el punto de sutura is the stitch. El punto de sutura. I had the burns as well because they actually singe it after they take when they take the tonsils out. The removal process is that they basically burn them out. So it's basically 2 raw burns in your mouth that can't fully kill or scab over for a while because the mouth is constantly wet. So you have essentially 2 scabs that are just always wet, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on. It's pretty gross. But it's called a burn, la quemadura. La quemadura is a burn. So I had 2 quemaduras. And so after that part of that process, now we're going to get into a little bit of the recovery experience. That was okay, as long as I didn't speak or breathe or eat for a little while. So with that in mind, for the first week, I had just an all liquid diet. It was terrible. So I had mostly soup and like meal replacement shakes. And as you can imagine, I lost a decent amount of weight during that time. And which, by the way, just say weight loss in Spanish, we say to lose weight is adelgazar. Adelgazar. So think of it like delgado is thin in Spanish. So adelgazar, to become thin. Or you could say perder peso, or bajar de peso. I lost about 7 pounds during this experience in the 2 weeks, and so quite a bit. And it's pretty common with this procedure because, as I mentioned before, you really cannot eat for 2 weeks, or for like a week and a half to 2 weeks. It's painful to eat anything, and it's disturbing the healing process because of the burns and stitches. They're constantly being irritated. So I had a basically all liquid diet for a week, una dieta líquida, and by the end of my recovery, I was so hungry. And after it was all finished, we actually went out to Korean barbecue and ate everything I could get my hands on. I was so hungry after these 2 weeks of not eating. So I did lose that weight, but I probably gained it all back that one night. I wanted to eat so much after not eating for 2 weeks. So I had mi dieta líquida. And I also had for the pain, which wasn't great, but it really wasn't that bad. It was a constant pain, which was kind of annoying. But the actual level of the pain, I wouldn't say was like the highest level of pain that I've experienced. The highest level of pain that I experienced was actually from a sunburn this year. Interesting. What trumps a tonsillectomy? I had a 2nd-degree burn on my legs. That was worse than the tonsillectomy. Anyway, the tonsillectomy was painful, just not the most painful thing that I've experienced. And I had a narcotic to relieve some of this pain, and mostly so that I could just sleep. A narcotic we call el narcótico. El narcótico is a narcotic. So I recovered from my tonsillectomy. It was fine. As I mentioned, I did it over the summer. And then about a month after I had my tonsillectomy, then I had my braces put on. A lot of work going on in here. I would say that the worst thing actually was not the pain, it was the smell of my skin healing after the tonsils were removed. It was so bad. It smelled like something had died in my house. Because as I mentioned before, burns, basically, they can't heal very quickly because it's constantly wet. So it's just really gross. Like imagine a huge scab that's constantly soggy, and the smell was it was awful. So we call the smell in Spanish, we want to refer to that, el olor. And if you want to get specific with the bad breath smell, the halitosis in Spanish, we say halitosis. And I don't have that anymore now that my tonsils are gone. It was a 2-week thing, and now none of that, no tonsil stones, no halitosis, and I haven't had a sore throat since I had them removed in June. So overall, I was just experienced with worth it. It was suffering through a couple weeks to not have tonsils anymore. The one thing that it did cause is kind of annoying and also a little gross, but I kind of knew you were getting into this with the video about surgery. So one thing that changed is the sensitivity of the area where my tonsils used to be. So if I'm even brushing my tongue, when I'm like brushing my teeth and brushing my tongue, then it'll cause me to gag now, whereas before it didn't. Now it's sensitive in that area in that regard. So we call that a gag reflex in Spanish, el reflejo náuseo, and that refers to that gag reflex. So one of the drawbacks, and really the only drawback that I've had since having my tonsils removed, is that reflex, which if you ask me is a pretty good trade-off, not to be sick and not to have an infection in my tonsils. But anyway, that's it for tonsillectomy. I hope that this was useful for those of you who are learning Spanish, and for those of you who are wondering about what it's like to have a tonsillectomy. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more Spanish videos like this, and also grammar and vocabulary lessons. I upload every 3 days, so you'll see me again soon. Ciao!